Welcome all of you to Laguna Seca Raceway.
What can we do to make racing more environmentally friendly? So the first thing we looked at was the fuel that we use. Ordinarily, race cars run on gasoline. That's all we've known for 100 years. We've chosen racing as the instrument or the tool to change that thinking. In the American Le Mans Series right now, we have cars running on E10, which is what you buy at the gas station. Cars like the Corvette, which are running on cellulosic E85 ethanol. We have cars running on isobutanol. We have cars running on biodiesel, and at this race we have a Porsche hybrid, which is a combination E85 and regenerative electric power. No series in the world has that level of diversity in its fuel. And the reason we're doing that is to try and help educate the consumer. You know, ethanol in and of itself is probably not the answer, but it is part of a greater solution. It's a first step, if you will. If we can demonstrate to the world that we can go win races and championships with cellulosic E85, they're not going to be worried at all about putting it in the SUV to take you to school or dad to put in the pickup truck to go to work. So we're using that to try and educate people on new ways, as well as being environmentally conscious and environmentally friendly. Same thing that we want to achieve in racing today is relevant to what you want to achieve in your street car. You want higher performance, you want to use less fuel, you want to be less polluting. All the things that we're trying to learn about in racing have that relevance to what the production cars are. We race for three reasons. One, marketing, and that's to sell vehicles, and not just Corvettes. We want to sell Silverado pickup trucks and cruises and Buick LaCrosses. Okay. Number two is a technology transfer, which we talked about, what we learn in racing, we implement into our production car. And the third leg of that stool is education. Teaching people that you can use other methods and other materials and kind of giving them a little glimpse into the future of what their production cars are going to be like. We're doing that all here in this series of racing. It's a pretty exciting place, pretty exciting time. It's a great way to make a living.
That's probably one of the biggest challenges for us as professional drivers, is having to adapt to all different types of Porsches, 911s, prototypes, Grandman, whatever it is. Getting in as a driver and finding that limit as quick as possible is really the key to making a living at this job. The unique thing is that it's a hybrid, but that doesn't mean that there are any batteries on board. It's all the flywheel storage. That helps to be light and efficient, and it also is more of a racing application. And to your question of how it is to drive and the difference, well, certainly you can feel almost an extra 200 horsepower, so it's almost 50% of our total horsepower coming onto the front wheels rather than the rear wheels. So the car basically operates separately. Rear axle is combustion engine, front axle is the hybrid engine. So very much so, when the front axles become active coming out of the corner, you get a lot of acceleration, but you also get a lot of grip, and this car in the wet is very, very impressive. And certainly off of the hairpin corners where we might struggle to get all of our power down to 2 wheels, now you've got 4 wheels, and it really helps with the efficiency of tire wear and things like that. It is a little bit heavier, so in the higher speed corners you have to have a little bit of a different style to muscle it through the corner, but all in all it's just a little bit of a different style, but very much still a 911, and a lot of fun. I saw him this morning on really cold tires. We were all kind of tiptoeing around, the vet and I, and they came steaming up through all of us. So there's certain times where it really shines and other times where it's very much a GT car, but all in all it's a lot of fun.
So all of the cars run on the same tire. This is our ENBR2 Race Slick. We actually use citrus oil to replace a lot of petroleum in this tire. So if you take all the orange rinds, you crush them up, you get a chemical out of it called D-reminent, and it's similar to, you ever use like blue pop and stuff like that, you know, it smells like oranges? It's the same basic oil. So you can use that in combination with natural rubber, and you can replace some of the petroleum in the tire. So we're almost creating an environmentally friendly tire. Obviously tires use a lot of oil to produce, but if we can take some of that petroleum out and replace it with a renewable resource, we can do it a little bit to make this a little bit greener for the environment. and obviously we're using orange peels, so we're not taking the good portion of the oranges. We have a partnership with the orange juice manufacturers in Japan. So after they crush the oranges and get all the good juice out of it, they give us all the leftover junk that they normally throw in the compost pile, and we can use those peels to make tires out of it. It's called our DB Super E-Spec, and it is a very low rolling resistance product, so it helps increase the gas mileage potential, and we still use citrus oil in that also.
Really?
And that's available in 5 sizes, I believe. So 2 sizes for the Civic Hybrid, the Prius Hybrid, the Accord, and then Ultima Hybrid. And as you can see, this is, I think, only the 3rd year we've been using that technology. So as we improve the efficiency in it, we might be able to expand into other products.
Okay. Because I would think too, if you're driving a Prius, you're going to want green everything,
exactly,
right?
Yeah.
So I can see the marketing side.
We've done a few other neat things to that tire. We use a much thinner inner liner. It's actually more a latex-based inner liner versus a butyl rubber-based inner liner, and that helps take weight out of the tire. And if you take weight out of the tire, it takes less energy to move.
Drivers Championship in the IMSA GTO class in 1991, and then the car on the end ran in the 1992 GTP series. So Mazda's been involved in motorsports since the early 60s. The reason we race is basically to build better street cars. All right? At Le Mans in 1991, when this car raced and when this green and orange one won the race, ultimately the race ended up being a fuel efficiency race. They limit how much fuel you're allowed to use over the course of the race. The rules have changed over the years, but back in 1991, the most fuel efficient car ended up winning the race, which is interesting because everyone said that one of the problems with the rotary engine is it's not very fuel efficient. We were able to prove that it can be. What's really interesting, when you watch these 2 cars run on the track, this one that always ran in the US in a series where there was no fuel restriction, with basically the same engine as that, every time you lift off the gas pedal, this thing tends to cough flame and smoke out the exhaust pipe. This one doesn't. Even though it's basically the same engine, in this we learned that if we could shut off the fuel injectors just a split second earlier, we could save tens of gallons over the course of a 24-hour race.
We are here at the Green X Challenge, the American Le Mans Series, at the Laguna Seca Raceway.
Called the Michelin Green X Challenge. And Michelin has an award, which is a race within a race. And what they do is they monitor the amount of fuel that we put in our race car. And they also have all the data from the distance that we've covered and the speed at which we've traveled. And Michelin working with the Department of Energy, okay, have come up with a formula to determine what car is the greenest car. In other words, developing the highest level of performance and creating the smallest carbon footprint. That's what cars were about then. Just how they looked, not about anything else. In today's world, I mean, looks still play an important role, but people are tuned in. People know what's under that hood. They look at things like fuel economy, and do I want an electric car? Do I want a hybrid car? Do I want just a gas engine? Do I want a diesel? I mean, people are doing the research. They have the internet to learn about these things. The consumer today is 1,000 times smarter than he was 10 years ago. And you guys have the opportunity to get on board with that clean sheet of paper, because any idea is a viable idea now. And you can explore that. When I see what these kids are working on in college now, in their laboratories, I mean, it's cool stuff.
It was really interesting to learn how racers are going green now and trying to save the environment.
I'm Andres Sanchez out of the race cars. I really enjoyed the process of recycling tires. It was spectacular seeing and hearing these really fast cars.
We're here at the Laguna Seca Raceway where we could see awesome cars. We also got to go in and it's a lot of fun.
We had an awesome time here. Please join us next time.
We are here at Laguna
Seca Raceway!